Wow,
Here
five
we
more
go.
days.
Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Showtime TV. I'm your host, Omar Rashada. This is Black History Month special. I've been doing Black History Month specials all month for the month of February 2021. So today is a very special programming. It's called for Black-owned businesses, Black History Month. And I have four distinguished guests. I have Lorenzo Hopkins. I have Thomas Grant, Nkechi Ali, and Dr. Michelle Knights. Lorenzo Hopkins, that's my cousin. I should know his name. All right. Hey, everyone, good evening, and thank you for tuning in. And thank you for being a guest, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. Let's start off with Lorenzo. I feel like for everyone just to introduce themselves and just talk about their business and what they do, very briefly.
Hi, Lorenzo Hopkins. My business is North Star Coaching and Consulting. We help turn your dreams into reality by merging high quality, evidence-based professional coaching rooted in the growth model, again, supported by mentoring and consulting. Nice to meet everyone.
Okay, Mr. Grant.
Yeah, my name is Thomas Grant. I am the founder, owner, and CRO, president of GPN Solutions into the financial services arena, where I work with small to mid-sized businesses and startup businesses in helping them getting the funding that they need for their business. And I'm also taking on another endeavor, is say how to create a relationship with businesses between here, the state of Delaware, and my natural country of birth, which is Liberia, West Africa.
Oh, man, awesome. So, okay, so I see you international. All right. All right, Nkechi, go ahead.
My name is Nkechi Ali, and I've been involved in several different businesses. But I had to go back to my passion, which was creating unique and, clothing that can inspire others. Right now, I've been trying to develop a brand called Natural Beauty, which is to empower our women as well as have our men support the natural beauty that all women and men have, and not to look for so much superficialness to be beautiful. So right now I am, pursuing that endeavor through clothing, and I'm on social media. I have lots of web presence to help promote my business, and hopefully I'll be able to reach more people and, trying to take my business just a little further. So that's who I am.
Okay, Dr. Knights. You're muted. There you go.
Great. Hi, everyone. We get to do something pretty incredible. We help people to examine their lives from all walks of life and embrace and implement a value-based system to achieve excellence in their lives. And we do this with a system called the 10 Life Values, which brings homeostasis, it brings balance to people's lives so that they can really focus in on every aspect of a human's life that's critical, particularly the Black experience. And in doing so, there are a number of opportunities to utilize the 10 Life Values as a solution to people's problems. And there are training programs. And there's also a consumable product, which is an herbal solution designed exclusively for men, made by a Black man for Black men. And it's been incredible to impact the lives of people across the United States and around the world.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I want to stay with Dr. Knights. I'm going to ask you all this question. A lot of people, well, I'm not going to say a lot of people, but there are those who contemplate and wanted to develop their own business, create their own business, but they never, for one reason or another, do it. So what prompted you, starting off with Dr. Knights, to start create your own business?
Well, I was really on the journey to work for an institution for the rest of my life. I was told that the way to find success is through education. And so I followed that law, that teaching, all the way to getting a PhD degree, and got to the highest level of education, and was serving as faculty in an institution of higher learning. And while that was incredible, and I'll be forever grateful for the lives I was able to touch, there was a part of me that realized that there was more I was called to do, and didn't really have a roadmap, didn't have a pathway to fulfilling what I knew was inside of me, but I knew I had to begin the journey somewhere. And so I realized that while education is important, it's only part of the story. And I wasn't told the other part of the story. And kind of figured out that there had to be more. You have to be self-sustained and have a business, be someone who can generate a path forward for yourself and others. And along this journey, which often at times felt like being in the wilderness for 40 years, I was fortunate and blessed to meet a pretty incredible business owner, Dr. Holman, who I have the honor of bringing the 10 life values from his work into every space, every place that I go. And so bringing that knowledge that education is part of the story, we must have a business for ourselves to really generate our own ideas and put that into something tangible, a product that can be monetized. I was able to learn from one of the best. And so now I know that helping others see the path to developing a business is really critical.
Okay, Nkechi?
Yes. Well, for me, it's been sort of a life journey, because when I was younger, I had the idea that I wanted to sell things.
Right.
It started, very simple. It started very simple with just, like candy and things like that to just friends, to, just taking it a little bit further and just trying to understand more about business. But what made me pivot is after I went to college for 3 years, I got my associate's degree in information technology, and I sought out in the workplace to, make a career change and get into that field as like a web designer or programmer or something of that nature. And I was always hit with oh, well, because you don't have a lot of experience, you're gonna have to show us that that you can do it. So go and create a website by yourself and then bring it back to us, and then we'll maybe consider you. And then I was just kind of confused about that. And I'm saying, well, if I go and do all that for myself, why would I come back to you at that point? So for me, it was like, well, I have this skill, I have the knowledge, I have the passion, because I always have been a hustler and wanting to do my own thing. I just took it into my own hands and said, you know what, I'm creative. I could do this myself. I don't have to, depend on anyone to get me going. And I just got into it, and I just kept it going. And I've been going for like the past 10 years now with my business. But I feel like a lot of people don't get started because they like to think about the end result before they've even taken the first step. And it always seems like it's a dream that's not tangible, but it really is, because all you need to do is take one step, and then the next step, and the next, and then you have a giant snowball, which I know a lot of people understand how snowballs work. It just keep on turning over. So for me, it was definitely just tapping into exactly what my dream was, what my passion is about, and just being able to take it and run with it and show others. It is very simple to use your skill to create sort of a job or a passion for yourself forward.
Okay. For those who are watching, you're watching Showtime TV. The topic of discussion is Black-owned businesses for this Black History Month special. Jemima Chucks was scheduled to be one of my other guests, but last minute changes, she was unable to make it. Mr. Grant, what prompted you to start your own business?
Well, back from my country of birth, Liberia. I am the oldest of nine,
Oh,
and
wow.
my mother was a single mother. And I used to joke her and say, "How you might have 9 kids, and you're a single mother?" But she actually had to go through what is known as the struggle, or what a single mother had to go through
Right.
to really bring up the kids. And back there in Liberia, so being the oldest, I had to help along the way. So she taught me how to wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and make pastry, and then go out and sell the pastry, and before going to school. So I did that all the way through elementary school, and when I got to the junior high school, I kind of pivoted instead of going out to sell the pastry in the morning and then going to school in the afternoon. The assistant Liberia had. Well, I started doing a shoe shine ball work, and I saw that it was bringing me in some income, and that led me into going to high school. I graduated from one of the best high schools in Liberia called the Bile Harry Episcopal High School. And from that standpoint, I then started selling newspaper. But my way of selling newspaper was a little different. I never stood in the street corner to sell newspaper. I went from office to office and just left the newspaper with those who were interested in buying the newspaper Monday through Thursdays. And on Friday, I go and collect. I never sold newspaper on Friday. I just did my collection. And the company that I was working for, like, how come you can't report to us every day? I said, I don't know, but it's a system I'm trying. And I didn't know what I was creating, but I did create a system from that standpoint. And immediately out of high school, I was then became the very first independent insurance sales agent for the Insurance Company of Africa that still exists now in Liberia, International Trust Corporation, backed by Munich Re and Chase Manhattan Bank. And that way actually propelled my entrepreneurship. And from there, within my first year, I was able to construct my first house, a 4-bedroom house. My mother didn't know I was building the house for her. And she thought it was my house. But by the time the house was completed, I turned it all over to her, and I continued renting. And then I got and bought my first car and used to drive to go to work. But the car seemed like it was wasting my time because I have to go in and out. So I would park the car and just walk from office to office selling insurance. So something else came into my mind and said, why can't you do something different with this car? So I turned the car into a cab and have somebody else drive me during the day where I go to work, selling insurance. And when I leave work, I then went and drove the car at nighttime up to 10 o'clock. And I did not need an alarm clock at all to wake up 3 o'clock every morning because I was used to that. And that propelled me to come into the United States, so as to further my education and see then how I can continue in business. Well, the first job I got in the United States was working for McDonald's, and it's like, well, I'm going backwards here instead of moving forward. However, I believe in you have to start somewhere. Even though Liberia is an English-speaking country, but as everybody know, we all have an accent, and everybody say, "Oh, you have an accent, whatsoever." So I wanted to get a little more fluent and get to know the society, and I did some research on McDonald's, and those are the things that really got me started in business. And from that standpoint, I started another company called AMC Auto Dealer Consulting, dealing with car dealers and what have you. And I found a niche, and the niche was that, like myself, we all didn't know anything about credit, and people who had challenges with credit. So those were the clienteles that I was dealing with and seeing how to get a good, dependable vehicle through a company. Again, I was an independent contractor with them, and then from that standpoint, it just led me into, hey, look, why continue being an independent contractor? Why not start something else that you can do without being an independent contractor? And I started a Grand Mortgage until the housing market tanked in 2008. And then I pivoted into the commercial mortgage business, and it got me to the way I am now, with the dream that I had long ago, that come to the United States, I should be able to go back to my country of birth, Liberia, and see how to create some avenues and businesses there. Because what I found, if you can actually create yourself through other people, you can do better things in the world. But that's why started me into business, to get me to where I am today.
All right, Lorenzo.
Well, mine is quite simple. I saw a need and I filled it. Growing up, I had a lot of challenges I had to overcome, and a lot of young people don't get that. So, and you know my story, that I spent almost 30 years still in law enforcement, and I saw on the federal level, and I saw young people continue to enter the system over and over again. So I said, what is it that I can do to try to stop some of this? Simply because when you're in the system, I don't care how high you go up in executive leadership, you still have to operate inside of a box. You can't do. So the things I'm doing now, like the consulting and coaching organizations and leadership, I got all those skills through the military and through the federal government. So why not put them to work for myself? And that way the handcuffs are off, so to speak, where I can start developing younger people. I go to high schools. I mentor people at the detention center, all those things that try to develop people before they get into the system or try to keep them out. So that need, it wasn't there. And I got tired of seeing people over and over again who lack the skill set to be self-sufficient and stay out of the system. The reason I believe people don't start businesses or start and quit is because people go into business for the money. Anyone who owns a business knows in the first 4 or 5 years or so or more, you're putting more money into the business you're taking out. And if you don't have that passion for what you're doing, you're going to quit because there's no reward for it. So I think a lot of people quit before they reach that pinnacle because they don't feel it, because it's not a passion. And if the money isn't coming right now, what am I doing it for? So they quit just a bit too soon. So that's why I believe people are scared, because they go into it with their eyes on money versus passion. Because if you have a passion for something, you grow it, finances will come.
Let me stay on that topic for a second. You know, I love doing scenarios. So I'm gonna give you guys a scenario. Ronald Doe graduated from Delaware State University. He has a bachelor's and master's. I mean, he has a bachelor's in business administration. He goes on to the University of Delaware, and he gets his master's in business administration. So he works for a firm, company, selling whatever. He's there for 10 years. His father says, you know what, man, you can start your own business. You got the skills, you got the knowledge, you got the degree, you got the experience, start your own business. Ron says, well, wait a minute. Man, I've been on this firm for 10 years. I got job security. I might even got a pension. Then if I start a business, man, I don't know if it's going to survive. I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if the community is going to support me. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stay with this firm. So what are your thoughts on Ron? Should he pursue his own business, or should he stay at his firm, his firm? Hopefully that's a good example. You know, I'll get better.
Well, one of the things that I find in business, if you want to go into business, you got to have the guts. That's the first thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Secondly, you cannot look at anything as a failure. Because every time that you go out there, you have the door closed at you, in front of you, you're learning something. And you can apply that to the next door to open that door for you. So yes, job security is there, but guess what? 90% of us work for the 3% that start businesses. And what we need to do as a people is to create the means of generational wealth. We may not have gotten it from our forefathers, but we have the opportunity now where we can lay the groundwork for that generational wealth to begin. We talk about empowerment. Empowerment is not politics. Empowerment is controlling your own destiny. That's empowerment. So Ron, Yes, the education is great. It's wonderful. When you look at security, you really get basically nowhere. And sometimes people will say, oh, it's a risk. But guess what? With that security is also the risk. Every morning when you wake up to go to work for somebody else, that's a risk within itself. So try your own risk and see what happens.
I think what happens, a lot of social learning tells people that they forget that yes, they work for the organization, but they are the commodity. They are that engine that makes that business money. And if you can make that business money, you can make yourself money. But Ron can't go into it being timid because he's not going to make it. If that's his mindset, the safety thing. Now, if he wants to start something small and work full time, but I'm going to tell you, if you're not willing to commit full time to it, it's going to be a part-time hustle.
Right.
And if you're not learning your trade or your craft, it's simply not going to get you what you want or what you need. So Ron's got to make that decision for himself. But I think we have to start looking at ourselves more or less as a commodity. I spent 30 years, the military and the federal law. I'm the person who brought people money or got the grants and did all those things. So why can't I do that myself? And I think we got to start thinking that way versus that this job is something that's going to make us when we actually make the job, if it makes sense.
Right. Right.
Well, for me, I think that it's very short and sweet for me. I have to tell my husband this quite often. Not everybody is cut out to be a boss. Not everybody can be a boss. You know, we need the workers and we need bosses as well. But some people like Lorenzo said, if it's not your mindset, you're not going to be able to break out of that. You're not going to all of a sudden land, a lot of people like to say they bosses, but at the same time, it's a mindset that you have to have in order to actually become that boss, because like there are times like for myself, I'm wear every hat in my business. I'm the producer, I'm the shipper, I'm the marketer, I'm the accountant, I'm everything. So like for Ron, he's comfortable in his position. He knows what he has to do and he knows when he gets off and he knows when he takes his vacations and X, Y, Z. So that gray area is somewhere he hasn't been able to etch out because like Thomas and Lorenzo previously said that, it's about your passion. And if Ron isn't fully passionate about it, it's not going to seem like a worthwhile, goal.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, Omar, you were emphasizing his education, his bachelor's, his master's, his MBA. Often there isn't a gap, a bridge in the gap between learning theoretically and what you do in practice in real life, where the rubber hits the road, right? In business, it's all about the day-to-day running of your business and growing it and scaling it and so on. So he could be very well learned in the theories and the principles and everything that he needs to do in business. I see a lot of you nodding and agreeing, but it's a whole different ball game when you now have to do the implementation, when you have to take that knowledge and have it in an applied sense. And many times what you need to do, you're not going to find in a book. Right. You might find from a very, very experienced mentor who's been down the road of success and failure. And really, it's not even really failure. It's learning those pertinent lessons that get you to the next level of understanding what it takes to grow and build and grow a business. And often people would glamorize, oh, I'm a business owner, or, I own this, or I'm the president, or I'm the, whatever, vice president, or you put any title on you that you choose, and that's all well and good, but what does that really mean?
Right.
How are you serving? How are you making a difference? Are you showing up in the world in a way that people are impacted, not just them, but their families and as a result, their communities? Are you in a position where people remember you because of how you've changed their lives. And I think that's where business becomes real. You know, it's not where you're dependent on some other company to kind of help you out with what you're doing. As you were saying, Miss Ali, it is every part of that business you touch, and you better know how to touch it effectively, from customer service to creating a product or service that is stellar. Right? You've got to be distinguished in the marketplace. So I think it's really important for people like Ron in your scenario to understand that business is a whole lot more than bookwork, a whole lot more than a degree. And it may not necessarily have to be either or. In his scenario, it could very well be where he's doing both things. He has his job and he's developing the early stages of his business until he's able to make a full transition.
Yep. And you hit something, Doc, really, really key. I think when I interview people, I mean, I have a master's and everything too. And I'm like, why do you lead with that? Simply because that's only telling me that you're capable of completing coursework at a certain level. But most people are missing that practical application piece of it. And with Ron, I mean, Ron could be one of those people. I know a lot of people in the workspace that I work with in my business that can't stand their job, but it's safe. They go through year after year really being miserable. And what I try to do, help them to break out and say, what are your dreams? How do you get there? And we start dialoguing about those things, simply because there are people who are comfortable being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Right. You know, I want to ask Mr. Grant, you're from Liberia. You come from Liberia. Dr. Nice, you come from Trinidad. How rewarding is it for you two in particular to have your own business in another parts, in another country? I mean, is it like, I mean, when you came here, did you have dreams and aspirations of having your own business, or is it something that as time went on, you just created? I mean, because it must be very rewarding that to come from another place to say, you know what, I got my own business.
For me, if you don't mind, I actually came with that within me.
Okay.
Yeah, within me. As I said, from my life story growing up as a kid, and then as a teenager, and as a young adult, and when I got the job as an independent insurance salesman, and you just imagine you on 100% commission. So there's no base pay. It's just 100% commission. If you work, you eat. If you don't, you starve. And what I did look at it, because of the way how the commission was set up, for every dollar that I brought into the company in the first year, I got 60 cents. So 60% of a dollar meant a lot to me. So I sat down and calculated how many people do I need to find for me to get 60 cents out of them, and how much do I want to make? And that's how I did it. So for me, the earning potential, if you were to hire me today and give me $1 million, I won't take it. I really won't, because it tells me to say I can make $1 billion if you're going to give me that, because I'm used to. So when I came to the United States, it was already ingrained in me to do that. But what did I do with it over here is I just expanded on what I've done, and what I intend to do now is to see how to bridge that gap now between here and where I come from.
Awesome. Dr. Knight?
So in growing up in Trinidad and Tobago, especially Tobago, business or the entrepreneurial life was very much embedded in life in general. And there were things you just had to do to make it. So as a young girl, I remember being with my grandmother, and she was smart enough to get a deep freezer. In a very hot country, anything cold would be good. So a lot of people didn't have resources to buy freezers, but she was able to get one. And I grew up seeing my grandmother and helping her to sell ice. So we got these little buckets from the ice cream that was finished, and water, and froze it and made ice and sold it. So I think from a very early age, the entrepreneurial bug got me really well. However, the focus was always education. Like I said earlier, coming from a third world country, knowing that the way out, or being taught that the way out of wherever you are to wherever you want to get to is achieving a certain level of education and living that professional life, was really the goal. That was the intent. And like I said, it took me, even though I had those early roots of knowing that business and being able to generate your own money from your skills and working with your hands and creating a solution to a problem, really showing up with ice to those who were hot and tired, that was a great solution. And it was easy to do, and it was profitable. So that formula was there, and it still exists today by service and solution. Yet, having that in the back of my mind, I stayed focused on an education, because for those family and friends back in that third world country, Trinidad and Tobago, my success educationally was their success also. And we all get to define success differently. So while business was regarded as incredible, I think there is this notion that to attain the highest level of education, to be a professional, to be a physician or professor or lawyer, whatever that is, that was really great success. From there, you can do, whatever else you chose to do. But I'll tell you, after I'd gotten my degree and I was working for a while, I realized that I kept coming back to the thoughts of business as success, business as a way to create not just a level of success for myself, but for others as well. That's really how you generate success for yourself in business, by helping others. So I think now, back in the islands, I think when people look at these great United States and so much that's happening, America is still the place of the great American dream. It's where you can come with nothing and be a billionaire. If that was your aspiration and you're working towards it, the possibility exists and is very high that you could, maybe if you didn't hit that, you can get close to it. And so others are looking on, they're living through your experience. And, now that there's a greater appreciation, I think, for business worldwide, the world has gotten smaller, and we got to see people like Mark Zuckerberg leaving college and creating this incredible business model that created a lot of success. So I think the mindset has shifted a bit, and business is a lot more embraced. I know I certainly have embraced it.
I think culturally, I know you asked Dr. Michelle and the gentleman, but culturally it's different here. As a Black boy growing up here,
I was going to ask you.
I was always told, get a job, you stay at the company you work. I heard my mother say it. I mean, that I'm in my 50s, but when I remember growing up, we didn't hear the stuff like you guys say, hey, go and make money. This is the way you do this. So it has to be a cultural mind shift for us born here, because again, the way out was education, but it also, hey, get a good job. You stay there, they'll take care of you. Jobs aren't doing that anymore. They're not taking care of you. So what we have to really we have to start embracing. Young people are starting to get more risky. I see it in this generation, but when I was coming up, I was told, hey, go to college, get a good job, stay there and retire. So it's a cultural thing too.
Yes, no, I totally agree. It is about how the culture defines success.
Yes.
And it is about what's accessible to you within the culture, even a culture of abundance.
Yes.
There still are barriers here in the United States that we have to overcome. Business is a great vehicle, an avenue to help overcome some of those things, but it takes a certain mindset, like everybody on the panel has said, to push past whatever the hurdle is that we encounter.
You win or you learn.
Right.
That's right.
I was going to ask Lorenzo and Nkechi, as a Black male, as a Black female, how rewarding is it for you to have your own business? I know, Lorenzo, if you want to add any more, you can, but let me go to Nkechi. So as a Black woman, how rewarding is it for you to have your own business? Because women have overcame a lot in this country, especially African-American women.
Yeah, it's extremely, it's great because I get to show my children the path that they should travel, with having a side business. Like right now, my sons, they're very young, and I've inspired them to start their own business in power washing, something young men can do. And it has, and I've actually helped other people, just come up out the mind frame of, just working one job or one source of income, because, just having one source is like, it's really hard to just make it on one source. And having a business, it's just, it frees you. It frees you mentally. It frees you like emotionally. It just gives you a whole different outlook on life, and you have your time to do the things that you really love doing. That's one thing about having your own business. You have time freedom when you have it. I'm not saying that you never work. I'm just saying you have time freedom, and that's one thing you don't get with with a job. You're always caught in your hours at work, your 40 hours, and when you have your own business, you're like, I have freedom now. I can really breathe. I don't have to, punch that clock. So for me, it's like, it's a breath of fresh air, really. And I get to express myself and inspire others as well. So that, like, one of the panel members was saying, your true success is with helping other people get started and pursue their own path. So that's how it is.
Yeah. I have another business, a power washing business, ironically, and we did an apartment complex the past summer, and I took my son. He's 21 now. He was like 19 or 20, and we were out there working, and you got the voucher comes in, and he was like, "We got all that for the weekend." So I'm starting his mind to think, okay, you set your price based on your value, and just working with him through that weekend and just showing him the ropes and walking him around how to build a job out. To me, that fulfilled me, because I want him to have multiple streams of income. I want him, if his mother aren't here, being able to sustain himself when the job market isn't great. So those things, examples I'm trying to set for him, because again, when I was growing up, nothing wrong with it, because that was a mindset back then. You get education, you get a job, you stay there. Right. I'm not saying he doesn't have to stay there, but I also want him to be able to say, what makes me happy? Is that freedom, being outside, make me happy? Be risky, take risk. Do it while you're in the safety of my home. So if you fall back, I could push you up a little bit. So just setting an example, Omar, to me, for younger people. I'm on a legacy phase of my life, as I always say. And then nothing better to me to leave to people is to be hungry and try to sustain and be a job creator.
Right. I like that, Mr. Hopkins. That's pretty incredible. And I love what you're doing with your son. And I think an important message is that it doesn't have to be one pathway, right? So if education is what's important to you, and if you're passionate about whatever that leads to, it doesn't have to end up being a job working for somebody else. You can still pursue your education, whatever your passions are. If it's, maybe it's physical therapy, but you don't have to go work for someone. You can work for yourself, monetizing those skills and those gifts and talents that you have. It's really about opening the mind and the opportunities for people to realize that what we have been programmed to believe is the one path to success is not correct. We can take all that's within us, all that we have aspired to be, and learned and utilize that, learn how to monetize it. Absolutely. So that we work for ourselves. One of the things that I earnestly sought after was to find someone who could show me how to take all of what I knew and monetize it. And when that happened, the light bulbs were just going off.
For those who love the showness, blend it. You can blend it. You can have that security of a job, and you know the hours that you're there, and you can blend it with some risk of something that may be of a passion that you want to happen, and you can do that. You begin to do that on a part time. And one of the things I tell the young people, if you do that, watch how your revenue or your income begin to grow. Once it gets to that amount that you have that short job of, it's time to walk away and put more of your time into that what you were doing part-time. And yes, as Lorenzo said, that's what I did with even my kids. They saw me at one time. I used to DJ right here in the United States, and they all pick up from that standpoint, and they started DJing. And said, "But Daddy, why?" I said, "I do this just on weekends for parties. I love to have a good time, and for churches and what have you. Well, that's my side." That's my side job. But if I'm getting $350 per weekend, multiply it by 4 weekends, that's a good bit. So if you take that and then you blend it with that what you have for the show thing, you can be much more successful. And in the United States, the little different between the United States and from where I come from. In the United States, you have consumers. Mm-hmm. From where I come from, you have buyers. If you have 3 people in the house, in many cases, you may have about 4 to 5 cars. From where I come from, there can be 5 in the house, you got 1 car, if you have one. Okay, so you see, that's what because in the United States, one can be greatly successful sometime in a short period of time. Because here's what it is. How can you make $1 million? Find a product or service and build $1 million worth of clienteles that will pay you $1 per day.
Yeah, briefly, Omar, real quick, if I may. Sure. I don't want the listening young people to believe that there's no value in a job, because most of the stuff that I have to start businesses, I learned on the job, those trainings and those leadership conferences in military and all those things. So harvest all those things. So when you branch out on your own, you're more marketable, because guess what? People are willing to pay for your knowledge, and that knowledge comes from all over the place. The college classroom, your job, and different training. So make sure you're sucking all those things up, because none of that stuff is wasted.
Right. Let me ask, so Mr. Grant, I know you probably got to leave in a second. I just want to, before you leave, I want to start off with you, and anyone else can chime in. When we're living in this pandemic, COVID-19, has that affected? What impact has that done to your business?
Well, it just changed the method of which you go about doing business. You have to just readjust. So you have to just that, hey, I'm not going to meet people one-on-one. So and I come from the old school where I know how to door knock. So now I had to readjust. Instead of door knocking, well, I can still knock the door by making phone calls. And then learn how to stay on the phone much longer than walking away. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. There's been a lot of talk about pivoting. It really is being flexible and resilient and adjusting to whatever our environment brings. And that's what this pandemic required of us. With our business, we actually grew, because especially with our herbal solution for men, it helps to build the immune system, it helps with vitality, energy, strength, and it improves libido. So of course the men always like to hear that part, and I try to redirect them and say, yeah, that's great, but it is about improving your overall health and wellness and strengthening your body. And because of the virus and the pandemic, people became a lot more interested in becoming an active agent in their own health and well-being, and doing so naturally. So we've got 21 herbs in this herbal solution. And so we grew within the United States as well as internationally. We're now in 125 locations.
Wow.
And this is our 4th year in business. And this past year has been pretty incredible in that we were able to bless a lot of lives, impact the lives of so many men everywhere. Like I said before, we're impacting their lives and the lives of their families and the lives of people in the community because of that ripple effect. Men are not as exhausted, they're not as tired, they're more mentally alert, they're more energized. Men are leaders of the community, and regardless of whatever programming or messages are out there, that's just the truth. That's a fact. And so when you have a man who's vitalized and energized and his health is good, he can do a whole lot more in transmitting that message and that value to others as well. So for us, it was really great. We did lose that one-on-one, and I loved traveling and meeting people, but we lost that, right? But we were able to do this. Omar, when I first met you before the pandemic, we met in person, one-on-one. You know, we just were able to sense who we were with our energies and so on. But now we adapt to Zoom, and we do this in our business as well. And Mr. Grant, you're so right. Nothing like picking up that phone and reaching someone who might be lonely or despair, or just, you know, might have lost their business or might have lost their job or worried about it. And we're able to bring some empathy and understanding and hope to what could be seemingly a hopeless situation.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever be the same again. I think it revolutionized the way business happens. I remember traveling to, I don't care, it could be Miami, it could be anywhere, and work in a room and in dialogue with people. I miss that part, certainly. But I think it allows me now to reach more people, because this wonderful thing, the computer and the internet, man, I mean, you're reaching people from, I had a friend of mine, they just picked up someone from India today as a client. I mean, because of this thing that you wouldn't have met because you're so busy traveling and doing X, Y, and Z, that sometimes you have to be still. You have to create new content. You have to get more creative. So for all the drawbacks, there are some benefits, and you'll see it start sifting like wheat, because some of those businesses and restaurants who didn't adjust, they're falling by the wayside. The ones who picked up and start doing better with delivery and with all those things are prospering. So it just forced us to look at things differently.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I'm able to be here with 4 incredible people well, except for Mr. Omar, I never met before. And we're here having a conversation about something very important, and we're able to meet like this. So this is a blessing.
Yes. Yes.
Omar, just because I have to go,
Okay.
anybody need to reach me, I can be reached at my office number is 302-257-5500. And my direct line is 302-290-5178. We work with businesses, startup companies, of financially challenged business owners. We can work with you with credit score as low as 25 to 525 credit score, and we can lend anywhere from $5,000 up to $10 million. Sorry, guys, I have to go, and nice meeting you all.
All right, thank you for being a guest.
Thank you, sir.
That's appreciated. Okay, Nikisha, go ahead. You about to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to touch on how the pandemic has affected my business. And I didn't really touch on this fact before, is my husband, he's a electrician, he's a master electrician, and we have a electrical service business here as well. So we have my business and his business. And it was almost like he was struggling along and I was doing great right before the pandemic. And when the pandemic hit, my whole business, like the way it worked, it just crumbled. And on the flip side, his business took off because a lot of people were home and they were looking at their home and they were seeing what
Yeah.
improved, and they were like, oh, well, we need this work done. So his business took off, and it was like, and I was left to basically restructure my whole business. And it was a good thing, because now I have been able to, get rid of the junk and just focus on, like she was saying, pivoting. And I was pivoting just to get back in line to start hitting my, increase again.
Yeah.
And we work together and making sure that, we both have success. But, it's a great thing, because we were able to reevaluate and see, what was wrong and what needed to be tweaked, and how we could, continue to benefit, even while in the pandemic. A lot of, we had people doing like online Zoom estimates for their home, and it was like nothing we've ever done before.
Right.
And it helped so much with being able to still connect, as well as continue to grow the business, even while in, a pandemic. But, it's kind of sad for me, because it was hard. It really was hard, when, my sales just stopped, and I was like, what is going on? But, like we talked previously about having the passion and being able to have the mind frame and the mindset got me over the hump. And now it's beginning to grow again and coming back into formation. So, the pandemic is a blessing for so many different reasons. And, I think that, the small business owner is going to be, the big business owner, because now a lot of things have been exposed about business and, what we have been facing so many years in this country. And without going too far into it, I just feel like, it has awakened, the giant inside, of our community, to say, hey, we can do this if we just come together and continue together on the forward path.
It made me sit still briefly. It made me sit still. I got some more certifications under my belt. It just forced me to, because I wasn't traveling, commuting so much. It's like, okay, now sit still. And that adult energy that I had kept saying, what else is out there? What else is out there? So I think I'm gonna come out of it better than when I went in. And that's one thing I gotta appreciate.
Mr. Grant, prior to him leaving, he was talking about loans. And one of the barriers that prevents people from establishing and creating a business is, you might hear this more from African Americans than any other group of people, is this: he can't get a business loan. So as a result of not getting a business loan, we can't open a business. So I want to ask the three of you, have any of you ever applied for a business loan? Did you get accepted, or did you get denied? What's your thoughts on a business loan?
What I did was I self-financed the power washing stuff and the stuff I do now. Not because I understand the flaws in the system. What I mean by that is this: we will allow a kid to get hundreds of $1,000s worth of student loan, but we would turn them down from getting $50,000 business loan. To me, that's backwards.
It is.
So I try to keep my overhead low, and that's one thing I'm trying to teach my son: keep the overhead low. You start, you build, and then you could take that seed money and start doing some other things you want to do. You may not get to what the level you want to yet, but as you build with the power washing stuff, son, you start saving your money. You upgrade your equipment, and if you want to say, you know what, once I build this company, I want to sell it, that's fine. But you'll have the seed money to do something else. So that's my goal, because I think we always should be careful to have young people start so far in debt, because if they're not really committed and they get a loan and they don't see the benefit coming in and they stop, that loan is still due.
Right. Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
All right. So Nkechi, let me ask you, if anyone else want to chime in. Someone came to you and said, I want to start my own business. What's the first steps that he or she should take?
Well, I would ask them, what's their passion? What are they most driven to do? And based off that answer, then we could start to plot out a course. I think a lot of people, like we were saying in the beginning, people just think about money. They just want money. And one of the things that I've learned when I was studying marketing is, what's your why? Why are you doing this? It can't just be money, because, that's obviously been shown to not be a good motivator. Because like, if you're not getting the money, what you're going to do, you're going to end up quitting. So, it's very important for people to know exactly the path that they want to take, their passion, identify what that is, and then they can continue to grow upon it, expand upon it, and then they'll be able to decide, like I said, which direction to go in. So
Dr. Knights, one of the things also one is encouraged to do when they start a business is develop a business plan. So I'm going to ask this for you and anyone else want to chime in. What does an effective business plan look like?
Well, my answer is probably going to be a little bit unconventional because everything we do comes from a value-based perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about the 10 life values. And Miss Ali, you're right. A lot of people think about the money. I think that Mr. Hopkins, you said that too, the money, you can't really go into it for the money. The money comes as a result of your service, because money is energy, right? It's a type of currency that is based on something greater than just a desire for the money. So in creating a business plan, or even creating a mindset around how to approach business, we do what we do with anyone, whether they're looking to excel in business or in life or anything. We'll take them through the 10 life values. The 10 life values starts with spiritual and it ends with wealth. We never lead with wealth. We end with wealth. So it goes from spiritual to health, family, appearance, dwelling. Those first 5, that's all your internal stuff. Who you are as a person, what's your connection to life and God, whatever your authority, your figure of power is. And then it moves to mobility. Mobility is more than just you moving from one place to the next. It's really about the social systems. Everything that happens outside our home, outside those first 5 I mentioned, is mobility. And this next 5 of the 10 is really the external factors. So mobility, education, profession, leisure, and wealth. When you have all of those things aligning, when you're focusing and giving the appropriate attention to all of those aspects of your life, wealth will come. Wealth will flow with ease because your spiritual life is right, or you're working on it to be good. Your health is good. So you have the energy that's needed to put in those many hours when you have your own business. Sometimes it's 20 hours a day or more, right? Then your family is going to be right, because you're tending to the needs of your family, the forgiveness, the love, all of those things. You get the point. And then we come to home. If your home is cluttered, your mind is cluttered, your life is cluttered, you're not going to be organized to manage your business. That's going to be cluttered. Your results are going to be cluttered. So all of these 10 life values aspects are critical. And that's really, Mr. Omar, where we begin to create a business plan. It's not this, let's get this paper out and write the numbers and how much you need or what you need, or what's your product and service. Those things will come. They'll come and flow with ease when you are right. Yeah, when you have value and you get all these aspects of your life in alignment.
Doc, I'm glad you hit on that, because when you're talking business plan, Omar, most people going to business have an idea of the concept they want to do, but that business plan is kind of final. It kind of, especially when you're trying to monetize it with a loan, they want to know exactly what you're doing, where's it going to. But I agree with the doc. When you start having those self-grounding conversations about where am I, and that's one thing my company does, is try to again turn your dreams into reality through coaching and all those things, simply because you have to understand, one, there's someone out there doing what you're trying to do. Learn it.
Yes.
Your goal should be, as a business owner, is trying to perfect that and trying to grow it. How do I grow on what Michelle or the doctor is doing? Or if that's a business I want to go into, how can I put my niche into it, or put my thing into it? I think it turns people off when you say business plan. Certainly it is when you're trying to go get someone's money, like the bank. But a lot of times it holds people back from doing it because they're so drained already from the beginning, have to do all this stuff. And what I want people to do, especially young people, is to learn to take a little bit of risk, right? Go out there and try some things. Learn a skill set. Oh, that may not be what I want. How do I adjust? And when you finalize on a business plan by trying to get someone's millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars, you find yourself pigeonholed into that market. But once you try some things, man, I think, like she said, that business plan in the beginning, you'll start writing it. It'll become clearer and clearer as you go along. I'm telling you right now. And then when you get there, you start to feel it in your spirit. And then you start to say, it becomes thirsty to you. You become thirsty and like, okay, I feel this thing. And now I can't put it down because now I got to learn. I got to push forward. How can I add to this?
Right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. LLC versus sole proprietorship. Who's LLC? Who's sole proprietorship?
Right now, I'm a sole proprietorship. The things I have no employees at this juncture. Again, you can start with a sole proprietorship and you can go to an LLC if you would like, but research and see what's best for you based on what you're trying to do. Don't let anyone pigeon you hold into it. There's gonna be a point when with North Star that I'm gonna have to go to an LLC. I can see the power washing thing being a sole proprietor because it's pretty much my son. I go and help him and do things, but it's, again, do your research, because when you're talking tax purposes and sole proprietor is putting stuff under your social versus, because I get an EIN number, you don't need one unless you got employees, but that's stuff that people have to research, find out what's best for them.
Totally agree. Yep. It has to fit the person and their needs, their financial goals, what kind of tax shelters and protections you need. Actually, this raises a really important point, because when you think about gaining wealth in America, what are the options? I was just having this conversation recently. One of the really big ways to gain wealth is through real estate, having your own home, and the equity in that home can really give you a big jump start to having wealth. Then you think about an inheritance, so you think about savings, right? You quickly, particularly with the inheritance, you don't have to do a lot to gain that wealth. And then when you think about a business, a small business, or maybe not so small, you're growing, that's an option. That's what we're talking about here. There are other ways, but if we just stayed there for a moment, what's the one thing that impacts all of those things? Taxes. Taxes will impact your house, and the equity. Taxes will impact your inheritance and your savings. Your investments is another way, right? Taxes. Taxes certainly can make or break, make or break a small business. So understanding where you are, what your goals in your business are, and knowing how to get protection and sheltered from unnecessary tax penalties or paying more taxes than you need to, understanding how you utilize the laws for your benefit is really important. And so talking to an accountant, a tax specialist is critical, because no matter what avenue you're using to acquire wealth in these great United States, you'll be taxed and you'll be hit, and it can wipe you out if you don't have the right expertise around you. Yeah,
and that's why I got hit hard during the pandemic, Omar. When you hear people saying they didn't get part of the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Plan, because it depends on how you did have your business set up. If you didn't have employees, a lot of those people were excluded from receiving that money from the federal government. So again, it's a lot of ways you can do it, but again, I think you should meet with a professional and find out what works best for you, especially where you are in your business. Now, if you anticipate your business growing rapidly, you want to stay ahead of that curve, because you don't want to be there with everything under you and you need to be an LLC or you need to be something else.
Right.
Or C Corp or anything of that nature. S Corp.
Nikisha,
That act,
Well, I hadn't taken a loan, but I tried to help my husband get one, and we waited and waited and waited, and it seemed like we waited forever, and it was almost like, we knew we wasn't going to get the loan, and then shortly after we waited so long, we got the denial letter, which really didn't come along with any explanation. It was just like, sorry. So, for us, I think your question was more about LLC and sole proprietorship, which I don't really have enough information to expand on. I just know that you should have something in place to state what bracket you're in. But as far as the loan is concerned, we didn't qualify because we have an employee, but we're not really, I don't even know, because he's an apprentice. So we're not really sure if it was the fact that he was an apprentice.
No, it was a lot of crazy stuff going on, sister. That there were some the rules. There was a lot of murky. You got some companies got it that really shouldn't have. So there wasn't any oversight of where the money should have went and who. And we typically, again, when other people have the code, we get the flu. So that's the same thing when it comes to money.
Right, which makes sense. Yeah, so we was hoping to get that, and that was like back in September. But you know what? It didn't really matter because we were doing really good, and we're still doing really great.
It's gonna make you stronger, I'm telling you.
Yeah. So we were just like muscling it through and saying, we're gonna just do it, and it's just like, okay, we're still out here, we're still doing it. So,
and if you can survive this, nothing else. Think about it now. Exactly. If you survive this and you're able to sustain your business, think about what the future holds when these things are in your rearview mirror.
Right, exactly. It's a great learning curve that we're on, and I think that a lot of us who are still riding the curve or seeing the just seeing the benefit in it and understanding that, hey, it might have felt kind of crazy 6-8 months ago when it first started. But now, we're like, yeah, we're getting through this. So,
Dr. Knight, you wanted to say something? I thought you wanted to chime in.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Hopkins, you really brought up when you were talking about whether it's sole proprietor or LLC, you made me think about sharing with folks how important it is to structure your business and get your business set up right. What does that mean? It can mean different things to different people, but for many, the notion of setting your business up seems to be, I'll get a website, I'll get all my social media platforms set up, I'll have all of that put in place, and that's one avenue, and it's been an effective avenue for a lot of people. But I know so many people who spend a lot of their money and their time setting up their business that they never get to do business. They never get off the ground. It is important to establish your business entity. That's a little different, and for some people, it might be, I'm just going to hit the ground running. I'm going to be a sole proprietor. And as I grow, I'll structure my business differently. I'll get an LLC, or I'll get an S Corp, or whatever you might need at that time. For others, it's, I'm going to start off right. I'm going to get my business license. I'll get my LLC. I'll get my bank account. I'll get, everything in place to be a really legitimate, formally recognized, however they think about their business. There are different pathways one can take, again, depending on what your goals are and what your needs are. It's got to be, it's important to factor in that piece as well. But for us, for instance, when we started off, and again, we do a couple of different things. We do training and the consumable product, and I'm creating a platform for women now coming out in a few weeks with Motherhood Academy, which is a training program for women. But with the herbal solution, for instance, that was hitting the ground running letting people try it, buy it, and rely on it. Got used to it. They fell in love with it. Word of mouth spread. You know, so we had zero online presence. We were very much the opposite of how everybody.
We did the old school way.
Old school way. It still works.
Yes.
So after we established and people loved it so much, they wanted to sell it and be with us and be partners and, you know, be distributors. Then we gradually built an online presence. We got a website, we got some social media that's still, you know, coming together. But the point is that no matter what you do, if you created the infrastructure online first or you know, followed up with that, you still need a loyal customer base.
Yeah.
And that's got to be built correctly.
Yes, you hit something key right there, though. If I'm right real quick, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you hit something key. You have to know who your clientele is going to be.
Absolutely.
For example, in dealing with my power washing business, you can't go to an apartment complex or any other large place without having insurance. They won't even hire you. They won't even take your bid without insurance. I also went to, again, got the bank account, had to get the name registered at the courthouse because those two go hand in hand. So you have to know who your clientele is. And again, you have people in that business already. So don't feel that you have to think of yourself. Go and ask people, find out, ask questions, study your craft. I'm sorry, Doc. That's when I get that in.
Perfect. That was the perfect addition. You're absolutely right. And what key to building that loyal customer base is exactly what you said, knowing your target audience or your clientele. When you know your clientele, your customer base so well, guess what? You're going to know what they're thinking. You're going to know who they are. You're going to know where to find them, right? That's actually called, instead of demographics, it's like infographics.
My goal to get good enough, they're gonna find me, gonna be looking for me. I'm gonna have such that's my goal.
They will find you and you will find them.
Absolutely.
And so for instance, let me give a quick scenario on this. And you're right, they are looking for you. They're looking for you and me and you and every one of us right now.
Yep.
But if we're not if we don't know who they are, we won't know how to position ourselves for them to find us.
Absolutely.
Right? So for instance, if you have a product that's for pregnant women and you decided that you're going to stand on a random street corner, Main Street, USA, and you're just going to give out this information to everybody who passes by. And in doing so, you'll eventually hit upon some pregnant women, right? That's just statistics. That's the law. That's how it probably would happen. But it's very haphazard. But if you know your client base well enough to know who they are, then you probably know very well where they are. You know where to find them. So for instance, if you went to Babies R Us, as just an example, do you think you might find some pregnant women there or people who maybe have just given birth, right? And you're giving out your information there. Chances are your percentage of people who you're hitting will be so much higher than just randomly given out at the mall or at a street corner because you're laser focused in who your target audience is.
Talking strategy down, Doc.
I'm sorry?
Talking strategy marketing. That's great.
I mean, it is really fundamental and it's baseline. And once you know that, you show up, you find them, they find you because they're out there doing what they do, but they're still looking for help. They're looking for that solution to their problems. And when people have problems, they usually have pain. And people who are in pain are what? They're actively looking for a solution. And you can be that very solution for them. So you hit an important point. So yes, we need the structure. We need the classification. We need the license and the bank account. We also need a great product or service that is impactful. but without the clients, we have nothing. Without the customers, we have nothing. So identify who that is for you and your business, and start getting them. Start talking, be very focused, be friendly, and be firm. And show that you can make their lives better.
And Dr. Nice, you mentioned about business license. So if one wants to start a business, he or she does not necessarily have to get a business license in the beginning. I mean, they can have a business for about a year or two and get the license later. I mean, how's that work with the business license?
Yeah, again, it depends on what you're looking to do and the goals of your business. If from the beginning you want to have a bank account in a business name, you need a business license for that. But do you need a business license to start doing transactions? No, not necessarily. And like you said, it can come over time, but it really depends on what you're looking to do.
Okay.
And when your clientele, whoever your clientele is, when they're looking, some of them are savvy enough to know to look for certain things when it comes to a business provider. Because some people say, well, are they really committed to this thing, or are they just trying to make some money? People don't want to spend their hard-earned money on someone who's kind of fly by night. They want to see something, like Doc said, some proven products. That's why she's doing the new site for separating the sites, because she doesn't want to look like I'm trying to do be all things every one. I got this site for this, and I'm doing X, Y, and Z. So.
Right.
All right. Nkechi, let me give you a scenario.
Okay.
This is Black History Month, so let's talk about African American support in terms of businesses, because that's always a touchy subject. Johnny D comes to your shop, goes online. Look at your clothes that you sell. He sees an outfit. It costs $150. He goes to Macy's. He sees a similar type of outfit. It costs $150. So he pays Macy's $150 with no questions asked. He goes to you, said Nkechi. You knocked it down to $90. So sometimes I think we as African American consumers, we take for granted the significance, the importance of supporting African American owned businesses. So we try to talk them down, not knowing that they got rent to pay, that they got overhead, that they got to pay their employees. So talk about the significance, and not just you, but Dr. Nice from the time in, as long as Lorenzo, of African Americans supporting African Americans, to stop trying to get over.
It is very touchy subject, because you don't want to offend anyone with telling people stop asking for discounts. Stop saying, can I get a discount, brother? Can I get a discount, sister? Can I get the brother man discount? All this, that, people like to say funny things, but to try to, get something extra because, we're Black. And it, to me, like in my experience, I really haven't experienced it so much from my position, because people already know, don't come at me like that. I'm definitely not fooling with you, because that's disrespectful. You're not going to go anywhere else and say that. So, understand what you're doing or what you're saying when other people think that they're supposed to get a discount just because we're Black. It's like I said, it's a hard subject, because I know it happens, but it's like we don't see value in each other. We have to value each other. And it's actually like a cultural thing. Like I was telling my husband, sometimes you say, don't go to the Black dentist because he's gonna mess up your teeth. They don't think that, he has enough value to do it the right way. And it's like, it's dehumanizing, and it's not fair that we see each other this way. And it's like, well, yeah, I can go to Macy's. They trust Macy's to give them a quality product, but they don't see enough value in you to trust you to get a quality product.
They don't see Macy's markup.
Right. Yeah, they definitely have one. So it's, I just think that, we should value each other a lot more. We should place a lot higher value on each other, and that will eliminate, the need for asking for discounts. I understand a bundle deal. You might want to get a bundle deal. I might get a bundle deal with a lot of different places. You might be expecting a bundle deal, but if I'm not offering a bundle deal, don't try to try to get one if I'm not promoting it. To try to give a decent answer, because I know that it happens, and it shouldn't. We shouldn't devalue each other like that. We should even tip each other. Tip us. Try to give more value. Try to help the business along. Share the business. Even on social media, just share the post. Share the, like it, comment. It helps. It goes further. That's definitely something I see firsthand. I might post a story, and I might get 200 people looking at the story, and I might get one like. And not that it's all about likes. It's just about understanding how to support each other, and not, make that person feel like, well, we don't really place any value on you. So, this kind of leaves you hanging.
Right. Two things briefly, Omar, then I move to Doc. One, if you come to me and ask for a discount, 10 times out of 10, you ain't getting it. If I want to give you one, I give you one because I'm running a bundle. Because when you do that, right? Say if Johnny comes to you and say, hey, Doc, I can't pay $100. Can you do it for 75? That word of mouth you talked about your business, he going to go and tell the other people you gave it to him for 75, and nobody going to pay you full value. So be careful, business people, when you do that, because they're not going to just keep that between you and them. Well, how are you going to charge you 100? And he only charged me 75.
Right.
So be careful the traps you set for yourself.
Yeah, that's valid points, all valid points. But remember, at the end of the day, we're dealing with people.
Yes.
Right? People are the ones who are buying and or not buying. So we are to understand how we convert someone who's just looking and wondering to being a buying customer. And sometimes that buy-in is not even just with dollars and cents. That buy-in is with embracing you and what you have, your product, your service,
Absolutely.
just, or you as a human being, or you as a talk show, TV, show producer. They are buying into you and what you present. The one thing that I often tell people when we're working with them is we tell people how to value us.
Yes.
People also determine how to value us for themselves. And we are able to help shape that because, it's funny, this conversation always comes back to value. I can show you how to value me, and I show you that I value you.
Absolutely.
Now, there are times that I can offer a discount, and it doesn't mean that I am devaluing what I have or myself, but I could show that I understand where you are and what you're saying, and I value you as a person. So one way to do that, and you're not setting a trap for yourself, might be you're doing an introductory offer.
Absolutely.
Or, sometimes I'll tell someone, this is your welcome pricing, or this coupon goes away after the first purchase. But you want them to experience you, and then they see your value so much more. On the surface, it's easy for us not to support each other and value each other. A lot of times because people don't value themselves. So we have to help them come along the path of valuing themselves enough to see that you have value. I have value. I have value, not because of degrees. I have value as a human being, as a person walking this earth, trying to do good and respecting the creation that God's made. So I think there are ways that we can help people to see the value in you and you see it in them, because ultimately, no matter what the result is, we teach people every single day how to value us.
Right. And I do it by, like I said, like I think Ms. Ali said it too, I do it by offering specials throughout.
Right.
Now,
exactly.
now do I ever give, certainly I do. It's some people that I know don't ask and say, you know what, I'm coming and I have time, I have space here, I'm gonna do it today, and this is going to be the cost. But that's set up front. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think we have some people who continually are going to try to do that. And I just caution young people when they're trying to establish something, when you do that, because some people are just looking for holes in your armor to go, because again, I believe in business that there's a void in leadership. That's why when you go to places like, I don't care what restaurant, when service is poor, that's not the person's fault. It's a leadership problem.
Yeah.
And if you give people a good product, they will come back. If you treat people right. People may not remember what you said, but never forget how you made them feel. And if Doc or any of us make people feel good, they're going to come back, because that feeling they want to keep getting.
Absolutely. And point well taken, Mr. Hopkins, because people will, that word of mouth, it doesn't just go for the positive things or the good things. It'll go for everything. That point cannot be overlooked. You hit the nail on the head with that, because people will try to come back and say, oh, you did this or that. And that's one of the reasons we have standard pricing policy.
Yep.
We're very transparent about that. Now, do we have the power and the autonomy to make some decisions for an individual basis? Absolutely. But transparently, this is what it is for everybody. That way you save yourself so much problems, and your reputation goes up, your integrity, your credibility, all of that stays strong.
Right. Okay, so we're coming to a close of the program. It was an awesome program, very educational and informative. So I want to give each and every one of you an opportunity to give the viewing audience how they can contact you, how they can support your business through your website, phone number, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever you want to give. We'll start off with Dr. Knights.
Oh, thank you. And again, I so appreciate you for your graciousness and thinking of me to include me in this panel. I do pray and hope that my contributions were helpful to your listeners, and that somebody today, this evening, got inspired to either start their business or to persevere with their business. So many of us have dreams and desires and plans, and sometimes all we need is the push and the support and the encouragement to say, you know what, now's the time. Do it imperfectly. Just start doing it, and it will get better. Look at Facebook. We're on the Facebook platform. Facebook was ugly when it started by their definitions as well. You know, it wasn't this fancy, pretty well put together platform. One of the things that people fuss about Facebook all the time is, oh, Facebook's always changing. They're moving this button, moving that. I can't find it. Why? Because they're constantly innovating.
Yes.
They're constantly improving, they're scaling, they're pivoting, they're adapting. It's a brilliant business model for someone thinking about starting. Start now where you are and keep improving upon what you have. It's about being in service. And I'd say that one of the key things to remember is that business and life, it's all about energy. If you have the energy that breeds success, it'll follow. It's a law. It's a natural law. Of course, there are things that have to come into play and be in alignment to run your business, but it's all about how there are businesses with great products that go out of business, right?
Yes.
The businesses that don't have such great products and they stay in business. It's how they do business. It's the energy with which you come and serve people. I'm on the phone with people all the time, and you know, you learn a lot and you grow every day with these interactions. Even being here with you, I've picked up something from each and every one of you, and as we go through our days as people in business, that's what we have to do, constantly growing and learning. So I really appreciate the forum. And if anybody wanted to get in touch with me, I'm here on Facebook. Not terribly active, but I will check in on Facebook. You can find me, it's Michelle Knights. My business page is Dr. Michelle Knights. I'm gonna get more active on those sometime soon. But you can inbox me, that's absolutely fine. I'll get you a message. You can also reach me by phone or text. My number is 302 897-9690. You can also go to our herbal website, which is agameherbal.com, A-G-A-M-E, herbal, Herbal.com. And if you want to get a sample from me, reach out. I'll be happy to do that. But any one of those methods, I'd be happy to serve you.
All right, Lorenzo.
Look, young people, if you want to try a business, don't be scared away. There's someone out there doing what you want to do. Learn all you can. There are people out there willing to teach. You don't have to struggle and flounder alone. So what you do is you learn, you try to improve on something that someone else is already doing. There's enough room out there for all of us. You don't have to shoot someone else down to make yourself shine. There's room out there. There's business room out there. There are enough clients out there. There's hundreds of millions of people in this world looking for services that you have to offer. I can be reached at northstarconsulting365.com. My phone number is on there. You can send an email that goes directly to my email, my business email. I can be reached at 302-632-6752. That phone stays on. It probably needs to go off sometime, but it doesn't. But again, on this platform, I really appreciate you, Omar. I appreciate the ladies and the gentlemen that every time we do this, I think we help each other grow. Iron sharpens iron. I believe that there's lessons. When you stop learning, you're dead. I mean, I'm always learning how to do this thing about business, this thing in life. And I appreciate everything that each of you poured into me today.
All right, Nkechi, close us out.
So I just want to try to make a nice close. My mind is all over the place since all the great information that I was experiencing and hearing it's kind of hard to close. But I just want to say that a lot of times people don't see their money as being able to work for them. And I want people to reevaluate and understand that their money can be used to do other things besides, by depreciating items. Learn how to invest in items that are going to make you money. And, just knowing that you will, make better decisions, just like my sons and their power washing, and Mr. Lorenzo, his son, in power washing, buy items that will make you money. Now, we might spend a few $100s on some Jordans or maybe a PlayStation, and it's just gone, and it's not making you any money. So really, think about how you spend money and understand money can be used to make money. So with that being said, I want people to also know that being natural is a beautiful thing. And, love yourself for who you are. And, some people may totally disagree with what I'm saying, but I think that, when you put too much on yourself, you become someone you're not. And then when you take it off, you don't like yourself. So love yourself naturally. Everyone has a naturalness about themselves that should be embraced. So my line is natural beauty, and I'm trying to let people know, hey, love yourself for exactly who you are. You don't need anything extra. So you can find me here on Facebook at Nkechi Ali, on Instagram at Nkechi_boo. And I will be there to, to answer any questions or chat or even talk about clothing or what have you. I actually have another developing website called NkechiNaturalDesigns.com. That's NkechiNaturalDesigns.com if you want to come check me out. So it was a pleasure meeting all of you, and I look forward to, sitting in on another meeting.
You want to give a phone number? Did you give a phone number, or you just want to?
Oh, sure. My phone number is 302-897-6443.
This evening, and like those who are watching, please like, subscribe, and share. Next month is Women's History Month, so I'll be interviewing all women who are making a difference in their community.
Powerful sisters.
All right. Thank you all again, and God bless, and have a safe week.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.